It's great to have you at our county fair serving milkshakes with me. I appreciate that, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. Real shocker, I want to talk about the dairy industry.
You've got the milk in front of you.
That's right.
So go ahead. So.
The $5 million, could you give us an update? I think you briefly touched on it a little bit, but could you give us an update on where that $5 million grant program last year is at, the current phase, maybe the timeline moving forward, and maybe some of the folks that have applied for that and what kind of businesses they are? Could you help us understand that a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you. And it's really, I think, one of the things we're most proud of out of the whole dairy discussion is that, again, you can do something more than advocate. You can do something more than hope, right, that the systems change, both federal, state. You can actually get into the conversation about transitioning somebody in their farm to add value, to make cheese, to whatever. The $5 million gives us that latitude. It is the allowable uses are value-added processing. That could be on farm, it could be in the larger community. The research and development on dairy research products and packaging, as well as the marketing efforts, which I know we've talked about, and transition to organic. So in the first round, to answer your question, which closed in November, there were 28 projects. I don't know the final number that went through the final review, but they are pending, approval by the CFA in January. That meeting got canceled. So we're hopeful that the CFA meets in the coming weeks to approve the first round of projects, which is about $3.5 million of the $5 million. But they're on farm. We've got farmers who are adding some value. They're Amish producers doing some on farm activities. They're processors who are looking to add package lines. So, but the key is getting the CFA to approve that. I mean, that's the key right now. Right. We have more than enough projects to consume the $5 million. That's good in the sense it tells us there's a lot of interest in dairy and continued development of dairy, but the hope is that we can get those approved here in March.
Great. Another question for you. With the tax exemption for realty transfer, we talk a little bit about qualified beginning farmers. What qualifies somebody for a beginning farmer? I'm looking at the FFA students behind you there, giving them avenues to become a dairy farmer if they wish. And you and I have talked a lot about this, and we need them. We need them in our industry, and we need their input, their creativity. So talk about a qualified beginning farmer and what that means, and how they can, folks that are interested could look into that.
Yeah, so thank you for the question, because I think the emphasis in the Farm Bill around new and beginning farmers is really one of the keystones of the whole initiative, and that focus on our current farmers and helping them through business planning and promotion, et cetera. But it's also keeping an eye on the future, right? The goal is to grow a new crop of farmers. So the realty transfer tax extension of that waiver is for the qualified beginning farmers, as you note. We want something very specific in this provision. Because we're talking about a farm that is eased and carries a deed restriction that says that farm will remain in productive agriculture for perpetuity, is the qualification is higher. And the qualified beginning farmer, several elements. One, they've had a demonstrated history in agriculture, being able to raise gross sales from ag production of at least $10,000 in the most recent taxable year. We believe that they've had federal gross income for ag production for the last 10 years. They intend to engage in ag production within the borders of the Commonwealth and have some qualification to get there, I guess is what we're trying to say, versus maybe some other areas where, go back to the business planning, where that would be more open to new and beginning farmers. But this has the qualification of experience attached to it to earn the waiver.
Great. The Ag Business Development Center, Topper was talking a little bit about that. What are some other ways that farmers are diversifying? I know that's one way that our dairy farmers are actually still in business, is they've diversified. What are some other avenues of diversification that you're seeing?
Yeah, and it's the full range. I mean, so I'd say for some it's the current enterprise, but extending the market, more direct market. All right. For others, it's the current enterprise of animal agriculture plus adding a new enterprise like fruit or vegetable production. If you travel the road, you see these high tunnels that are popping up in certain roads. If you go to Lancaster County, it seems like every farm has, a high tunnel on it. Representative Zimmerman points that out frequently. But I think there's also opportunity for industrial hemp. They're adding, a lot of even within animal ag, sheep and goats, right? So all of that's playing out. There's a lot of activity, though, around the direct market, and we see that as one of the key points for us, is that access to a population of 40 million people that's different than being in the state of Kansas or Illinois. You can actually reach to that market for people who want farm-produced and local product.
I see I'm out of time. I have probably, 17 more questions, but I appreciate your time. And I think our dairy farmers really want to know that we're listening, and I know we are, and we hear you, and we're trying. We're doing what we can, and I appreciate you as well doing what you can to support them.